Hey everyone. Sorry, I was trying to get my chat up and running, but so I thought I would get on and just kind of see what everyone wants to talk about. Obviously, with the homeschooling and isolation and distancing and everything going on, this is a bit unusual, and thought, if we just want to get on, have a little conversation about watches and whatever we want to talk about, just to kind of have something to do and interact with each other in ways that, hey Vic, in ways that we can't necessarily do like we would like to. Um, of course, going out shopping and having people over for barbecues and all of that, it's kind of been nixed. So just kind of wanting to see what everyone's kind of doing to pass the time. Obviously, we've got um, Shop HQ is coming on tonight, uh, so that'll be something to do. But just kind of seeing what everyone's up to and how everyone's coping. I'm sure there's some that have been affected more than others based on your job and things of that nature. Uh, I mean, I work for a healthcare company, so we're kind of in high demand right now. Um, my daughter, though, works for a interior design company, and so they've been hit pretty hard with all of this. So she got notified Friday that she'd been laid off because of the lack of work. So for anyone directly affected, I hope everything is okay and everyone gets through. Hopefully, whatever Congress is talking about can be helpful for others. So I guess that now is the time that we're going to sit here and interact with each other virtually, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I appreciate. Um, yeah, she took it kind of hard, which I mean I understand. This is unfortunately I've been through this a few times, so I'm hoping that. And she was old enough to remember, especially the last one. It was about 10 years ago. So I'm hoping that she kind of you know take some comfort in understanding that we know what it's like. The job was very kind to her. Said, as soon as things start bouncing back, that she's they're more than happy to have her come back. So this wasn't anything, work or productivity related. So it's just kind of the where we are, I guess, at this point. So, but yeah, we've been. Going through paperwork and cleaning up the office. And yesterday I washed all the cars and, just trying to give, the illusion of doing things that, if it was a normal day that we may or may not be doing it, that, sometimes, stepping back and having this time to see what's going on uh, with each other in your family and immediate friends, that maybe this will change how we interact with each other. I've never been a I know it's just funny sitting here talking to people on the internet in a chat. I've never been one that has fully embraced it, but I understand. I mean, for anyone that knows me, I generally am a people person. I enjoy being around people and all of that. So this is kind of an outlet for me to just sit here and ramble on at the mouth, so to speak. Um, but you know. Yeah, PS4 time. Oh yeah. So just as a point of reference, we got the Grand Octane in the purple on today. So that's the broadcast watch. So that's what we got going today. Um, so I'm just kind of sitting here, just kind of passing the time. Thought maybe I'd jump on and see if anybody was interested in talking about anything else. I just got done wrapping up shooting another video for Tuesday. I'm hoping to, with the more time we have now, I may start running a series. I'm thinking about doing spec videos on all of the Punishers that I have, you know, to do something. I know I've been watching more YouTube, Netflix, and such. Of course, you can't help but look at the news and see what's going on. So for those that seem to think that this is not that big of a deal or not that important, I really hope that people really start to understand that, to make some small sacrifices in going out and, doing the things that you want to do versus slowing down this pandemic. I mean, I don't wish it on anyone, and I feel terrible that some of these people have. You just won, huh? Okay. Uh, Unfortunately, there was some. I think it was some Orlando students. I forget what university now. There's 5 or 6 already tested positive that were at spring break events. Um, and I mean, the only thing is that I hope that some of this information, and I hope they all, make a recovery and they are in that 80 percentile of that they're not going to have severe symptoms. But hopefully this may help drive home that just because you may not be severely impacted, from a physical standpoint, the ability to get this virus and to spread it to others is extremely easy when you're in close proximity to a whole bunch of people, which is the whole idea of why we're all trying to do the best we can, distancing ourselves and everything to try and limit what is inevitable. Um, I will say probably the one comment, I think it was Governor Cuomo was saying that it's not a question of how many are going to get it. Uh, I believe he's probably pretty correct in the 40 to 80% of the population will eventually get it. It's slowing the tide so that as people experience the symptoms and get sick, that there's not so many at one time that it overloads the system. Um, I mean, in years past, I mean, we had swine flu and SARS and H1N1 and all these other, you know, not technically pandemics, but you know, even Ebola, um, you know, these things aren't gone. I mean, they're still prevalent, and it's it's not that this is going to go away. It's, after so much time that, no one is going to get, COVID-19 again. It's the idea that we will be able to have a treatment process, um, which will help mortality rates. We'll then be able to develop vaccines and things to lessen the impact and hopefully, prevent as much as possible. But this is the world we're in. I mean, it's just, diseases are around us. And if it wasn't for the speed that this thing can multiply itself, I don't think we would be going through this, you know, social distancing and everything. But until we're able to come up with pieces that, you know, can limit the effect and, lessen the severity and all these things, medications, treatments, all that. At that point, you can kind of return back to a normal style of life, understanding that, the rules still apply. Wash your hands, you know, uh, be cautious of, and I think this comes more from a business and everything. And unfortunately, I understand some of the economics is some people are like, I'm a little sick, but I got to go to work. That hopefully that businesses and institutions understand the ramifications of, it would be much better to pay somebody for a day off than it would be for that one person to come into work and then get the rest of your healthy workforce sick. Now you don't have anybody doing any of the jobs. And how much financial burden is that? I'm hoping that we come to some sort of balance here, that we can understand, the give and take of what happens in these scenarios, that, we're a little bit more lenient with, giving someone a sick day if they're not feeling good. Of course, unfortunately, just like now, there's scammers that are trying to scam and scare people. There's going to be people that are going to take advantage of the system. Unfortunately, human nature is what it is. And, you know, some people say you just can't fix stupid. So there's just some things that you just can't fix, but understanding, everything that's out there. Yeah, I mean, the of all the things in that statement, Vic, I think probably the hardest thing is the word essential. Um, I think unfortunately, a lot of times essential is in the eye of the beholder. It depends on where your point of view is, whether you find, is it essential to you? Is it essential to what you produce, or what service you offer? I think that's the gray area that we now see, is everyone's interpretation of essential. So I agree. It would, I would say, if we could shut everything down for 2 weeks and then know at the end of 2 weeks we had a recourse of treatment, a successful treatment, and a plan going forward. But I think all of this is so new, it's coming at us so fast that 2 weeks is, yeah, no, I agree. Supermarkets, first responders, we were just talking about this just a few minutes ago. Um, Sanitation. So you've got trash, you've got water treatment, you've got electric, gas, all your utilities. I mean, obviously those are essential. Supermarkets, food distribution. Hey, Smitten. Um, you've got, pharmacies, people that are in the industry of, trucking, transportation. Um, there's so many things that are affected, and it really is a ripple. I mean, the hardest ones, I think, probably the hardest ones being hit right now is obviously travel. Your airlines, your cruise lines, um, and then service industries, stores, retailers. Um, you've got you've got restaurants, and now the interesting thing about restaurants, in another sense, is if a restaurant can maintain a to go menu, so to speak. So that means, management is there running things. The back of house still has to stay running. The ones most affected by that are going to be your wait staff and front end people. So how much of that do you convert to say, well, let's move some of our wait staff into a home delivery service, but then you've got, DoorDash and all the rest of them. I can't even Uber Eats, and there's so many I can't even keep track of it, along with other restaurants that, deliver themselves, pizza places, Domino's, Pizza Hut, all those things. Um, so, and then, but you have the balance of now you've got, in some ways, more people handling and transporting, and, you know, everyone needs to be, safe about that too. So, you know, leaving something on someone's porch, and then, then they go and, see what's going on. So, it's kind of one of these society um, will look like, because it's going to look different. After this is all said and done, we are going to have some lessons learned. I think companies that are so stringent on, you know, they have no work from home policy are finding that if you stick your head in the sand, so to speak, and you say no to a work from home scenario at all, like you just don't support it, when you come into a situation like this and you are ill prepared to do what it is that you need to do for your workforce, how much more impacted are you by not being able to quickly adapt? I have to say, I feel fortunate that the company I work for, that we had a contingency of people that worked from home on a regular basis. We had some remote offices and workers, so we had a general understanding of what, on a small scale, mind you, a work from home scenario looked like. Um, yeah, I mean, I mean, we're thinking the same thing. We've got a trip um, in September also, and how that's going to pan out with everything is going to be interesting. Of course, I mean, we're close enough to where we're going to cruise out of, and we're talking of a cruise that we could, we ourselves, we could drive down there to Florida. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I know for you, that would be, you know, a good 2 days uh, of hard driving to get from New York to Florida. So, you know, what is the airlines look like in September? It's not just, cruise lines. So, hey, Celia, how you doing? Um, so I'm just kind of sitting here just talking about just general ideas of what's going on with all of this isolation that we're going through, and, ideas of what we can do and how we can make changes, and see what's going on and see what everyone's experiencing. I was just talking about work from home corporations. I believe the ones that right now are probably in the strongest position are ones that already had a work from home model already in place. So it gave them, and I speak from experience of our company, we had an existing work from home policy of what it took, all those sort of things. Um, Luckily, we had just gone through a massive upgrade in our telecommunication platform, that what we are now able to do with soft phones and remote connections and everything, we were able to successfully put 100% of our workforce with the ability to work from home. I'd say there's probably a handful, maybe a dozen or two, of individuals that still come into the office based on there's, physical resources that they need to, put their hands on to do their job specifically. But that in and of itself means that they're only a few of them there. So I went into the office, I think it was Friday. I had to go check on something. I think I ran into 6 people, and this is a building that'll hold, I don't even know how many, 1,800 people or better. So, I mean, it's definitely a different world. So, but, you know, like I say, I think we're going to find that the lessons learned and how we, D&Q, what's up? Lessons learned of how we interact with one another is probably going to change from going forward, even when we have the ability. Yeah. Uh, and I understand it from a certain point. From a military bases are not as prepared just because of the nature of what they are. Um, but it does make it difficult because you've got security concerns of opening up access to things that you just don't want anyone to have external access for. I know that like I was saying, we use Avaya at our corporate office, and I know that a lot of government and military um, and federal installations use that, and I understand the need to have a very hardened connection point. So it's kind of there's a two-edged sword on that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people affected, by military bases and things like that. I mean, obviously, and they do, but it's very limited in who can have VPN. Just having VPN isn't enough for them. I mean, you need to own the equipment. I mean, there's a lot more. Like we have VPN at our office, but we absolutely 100% will not allow a personal computer uh, to have VPN access. We just can't. The liabilities and concerns around this is if I open up a VPN, obviously it's a two-way tunnel. Anything that they may have had on their personal computer can now infect Kenny. What's going on? Could infect corporate and vice versa. There's just so many things that you can't control on a personal computer that you have the ability to control on a work on a corporate owned device with policies and everything. Yeah. So then, I mean, you have much more flexibility, but I don't know how much flexibility they have from like a telecommunication platform, work from home. I don't know. I mean, I've been out of that. I've been out of that side of the house for so long that um, I just don't know. But yeah, I mean, everything kind of is going to change. Um, I think this is going to be, a very, like I said, a very different world. So, you know, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't imagine that is. Yeah, like honey buns. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, this isn't Chick-fil-A nuggets. You just can't all just go and grab some, right? Um, yeah, I mean I don't know. What's everyone feeling right now? I mean, I know most everybody on here who's been directly affected by this as far as reduction in force or layoffs. I know, like I said, here in our house, Smitten and I are not affected, but our daughter is because of her company and the industry she's in. And that's interior design and all of that. So their clientele is obviously cut back on all of their work, and so the trickle down is less work, less AutoCAD engineers, on and on, less engine, less designers and everything. So I mean, it's a, it is what it is. So, I mean, I hope everyone, is not directly affected, but it would be naive to think that there's not quite a few of us, um, that are affected by it. So, like I say, I hope this, um, yeah, sales is closed. Yeah. I'd be curious though, a little bit on some sales. Like I was talking to my neighbor, um, who was standing at the edge of my driveway. That's about as close as I let him get. He's in real estate, and he's saying that basically real estate is still an open segment. Um, Obviously, if people have to move out of a house for whatever reason, they still got to move, they still got to sell it. People that are relocating for work or other events, or their lease is up and they got to get out. I mean, there's only so much that you can stop. I mean, I feel for, first responders. I mean, so I know in Atlanta, there's been a report of, I think it's at least one. I think it was APD, Atlanta Police Department, had a confirmed case. I'm sure that number between that fire, rescue, EMT, doctor, nurses, the ones that are really on the front lines constantly, um, is that's the number that I worry the most about, is the ones that your job, puts you in harm's way in this scenario. And now with, yeah, oh yeah, I heard about that. Something about, yeah, tomorrow at 8. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I say, um, this all comes down to how quickly companies that aren't, um, work from home friendly, I'll say, um, how long it's going to take. Now, we did have a meeting Monday or Tuesday. I have so many meetings now, my brain hurts. But our CIO was in a meeting with other local, CIOs in the Atlanta area, and from what he indicated to us is that the vast majority of companies in our area are not nearly as prepared for this, as we are. I don't know if that was, some patting on the back he was trying to do, but I mean, I've heard from other people, that, yeah, I mean, if you're not thinking about it, or if your policy is that we don't, support it, then when you have to initiate it to keep your business running, then, mm, Blue Jeans, yeah, we um we use Blue Jeans, and I also with the Avaya system. Sorry, I got to stretch my screen to read it all. So yeah, we use a lot of video conference. In fact, we've got, three of our companies are directly, working with telehealth solutions. And so obviously, when all this came out, the word came down from them, saying that they are being inundated with doctors and facilities trying to quickly set up telehealth solutions. So it is going to be something that once she, sorry, I was reading and got off track. Once all this calms down, I think the adoption of telehealth is going to expand greatly, just because you, No, it's not the text is larger. It fills the screen across. I had to scroll over to see it all. So it for some reason on my chat, it's not wrapping the chat. I don't know. Just irritates me. But anyway, it's all good. Um, so yeah, we have a full Avaya Equinox video collaboration screen share that we utilize. We also have BombGar and GoToMeeting, and good God, we've got every conferencing piece under the sun that we've used. Um, from individualized systems, and then obviously BlueJeans is a great aggregator, so that it's equipment agnostic. You can have any sort of codec or whatever, at your location, and BlueJeans, is the referee and makes all the adjustments to keep everything moving. So yeah, like I said, a lot of our companies, because they're placing doctors and nurses at facilities, others are actually they write code for emergency room, patient tracking, and all of that. So there's a lot more interaction one-on-one. The president of our company said that unless you absolutely 100% have to meet someone in person for whatever reason it is, you have legal documents that you have to sign and it has to be signed in person with a notary or whatever it is that it requires, something like that, that it be done with electronic signature or I think if you are financially in a place that you can take advantage of the stock market, um, you are going to be much better off than a lot of people. And I know, you know, even going back to the 20s, the Great Depression, there's always two sides to a scenario, and where in and I had a economics teacher teach me this is was you have uh, you have times of Bibles and Budweiser and times of champagne and caviar. Um, but there's always someone who wins and loses, uh, regardless of the side. Like I say, if you're in the medical uh, development or manufacture, you are booming right now. If you're like 3M or somebody that makes masks or gloves or protective gear, you are going insane trying to keep up with the volume. So to say that everyone is affected is a bit short-sighted, but just in the same vein, when things are a lot more calm, there's other segments of the network, or of work environments. Yeah, I try not to, but um I think we are generally workaholics, but it just is what it is. But um yeah, if I have the ability to take advantage of some stock prices, I will definitely be putting the big toe in the water for that for sure. Because I mean, if this is, this is a government forced recession, yeah. So yeah, the bankruptcy court, in about 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months, there may be a little bit of a grace period. Um, you you're going to see in probably about 6 months, for probably about a year or so, bankruptcies, filings, all of that is going to go up. So, you know, you are going to be, if you are a lawyer that specializes in, yeah, yeah, don't look at your 401k one right now, unless you're within, I'd say if you are within 2 to 5 years of retirement that you're actually going to start looking at it, those would be the ones that I would, feel for. But even that, you can't touch it. If you do, you're just going backwards. You got to hold out. You got to play the long game when it comes to all of that. And this too will rebound. Um, 9/11, we saw a similar dip for obviously a greater, different reason. Um, this is going to hit people differently. If you are in the idea, no. What was RJ's latest post? Sorry, we're going to do this live, so I'm just kind of curious to see what it was. What was it? What was it, Vic? What did he post? I don't see it. Oh, the Magnum. Bolt Zeus Magnum graffiti tonight at 8 o'clock. Um, for those that, let's see if I get the color right. So that is what Ryan posted, and I know Vic is just about ready to claw at his skin like a heroin addict 2 days out. Um, he's going to be jonesing for this one pretty hard. So yeah, tonight's gonna be an interesting night. One, because Kendi's going to be back with us, which is always awesome, and all of that. But yeah, I saw that. I went through the list. It looks like they've got all of the heritage that they released. The excursion, the Russian diver. There was something else that was out there in the heritage line. They're bringing all those out tonight too. So I'm trying to restrain myself as much as possible. Only because I've done enough damage in the last 6 months that I'm probably good for at least, if I could make it through um, April. I mean, I'm trying to be realistic. If I can make it through April without adding to the old value pay, that would be epic. So it depends. So I've seen people post some of their graffitis. Um, some patterns are kind of boring. Um, some of them are very unique. I've gotten lucky with the ones I've gotten. Each one of mine has a very unique look to it, but it's very much a eye of the beholder type thing. Yeah, okay, you don't need 10, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have 5 or 6. If I was going to do one, which would I choose? Of the graffitis? Hmm. That one with the spinels, I think it's on the SAS. That one is outside of the first one, that one's probably the most exciting and unique. One being on a SAS case and having the black spinel to really give a different look of not just graffiti. Um, it's all good, man. I mean, not everyone likes the graffitis. I mean, I've seen some people. Yeah. Oh, heritage. Oh, heritage. Um, wow. I don't know. That's twofold. The very first Heritage, because what's up, Trap? Um, I really, really, really liked the very first Heritage. It was a Pro Diver, which is not exactly my go-to watch, but it was the first and so far only Heritage with the Ronda R150 in it. And it was a limited edition of 150. So that one and that Venom, the first Heritage Venom, would probably be my second one. Um, but yeah, having that first one with the R150 limited to 150. I really wish they would have kept the limited edition on these newest ones to 300. Um, I mean, 500, is it a low number? Yes. Is it the lowest they've ever done? No. It's not the highest. I mean, you got 4,000, 3,000 in the Disney and the Marvel. I think even Disney goes to five, I think. I don't know. I don't have any Disney pieces. Um, but I liked the 300 number because that's part of the hunt is you've got to be, as far as I know, that's what he said on the cruise when we talked to AL. That now I want to say it was 50. I think it was 50 of the top universities um, had actually worked out the details to start with. And then obviously it's going to be, I mean, you got to figure it's going to be some of the big schools, um, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, um, USC, Oregon, Texas, some of the big schools are probably going to be the ones that are going to come out. The ones coming out tonight. The ones coming out tonight of the Heritage, I would probably do the Excursion if I was going to do one. Post my two BZs. What? What are you talking about, Celia? What do you mean BZ? Oh, Bolt Zeus. Sorry. Sorry. Yep, I get it now. Sorry. Um, can't return the first one. Why can't? Well, why would you return the? Okay. Why don't you I bet if you posted it up, someone would buy it. I would venture that someone would buy it. He's not in Alabama. He's here in Atlanta. He's just a Bama fan. So, um the hockey ones are pretty cool. It would have been interesting um if if they could have done NASCAR. But I understand being a NASCAR fan in the past. Um, not a real, not haven't followed it in, are we 3 years now? My driver left. Christy's driver left. Some of the changes that they've made, I'm not a big fan of, and just. Um, but getting back to the getting officially licensed, NASCAR is so unique in you've got the sanctioning body, but then you've got individual teams that have their own um, marketing with companies. all the way down to drivers have contracts with companies. So the sponsorship is just all over the place. I mean, to be able to get, and the thing is, let's say they do a sponsorship with, um, Jimmy Johnson and Lowe's, and then all of a sudden Jimmy Johnson retires and Lowe's is now with someone else, and that person then leaves that team, leaves Hendrick and goes to Roush. Now you've got the licensing agreement between Hendrick and Roush, and then it's just way too complicated. It'll never happen. I mean, it's just not going to be. Yeah, I would be shocked if Alabama is not one of the NCAA schools. I mean, it would just be crazy to think that they wouldn't do it. Um, I think MLB, we're getting close. I'm not sure. I don't know if Tech is going to make it or not on that list. They might. Not necessarily for our football. That's for damn sure. Jesus. Um, but the baseball team and, well, the basketball team has gone through some rough times, but um, and that's the biggest thing is are the whole NCAA thing, is it more focused on the football programs or other programs, depending on which one you go with. I mean, if you talk women's basketball, I mean, you got to talk about UConn and some of the others. So it depends on the sport, I think, as far as what the top 50 teams are. So that's I think that's a whole nother conversation, around that. I mean, you look at men's basketball. You've got Duke and North Carolina and Syracuse and what was it, St. John's, and oh my God, I can't even think of them all. Kansas and Michigan and I don't know. I can't even keep track of them all. Um, but now you look at football. I mean, no one is looking at Duke to win in football. But so I mean, it's a whole different animal there. So I think it comes down to the sport, which is the top 50. But I think overall, it's probably going to be based on their most popular from a football standpoint, because that's going to be the biggest draw. But we'll see. Um, I know soccer. They have some, but it was more from the international, like countries, more than the actual teams. Um, yeah, that was going to be interesting. So I don't know. We'll see where all of these, and of course, yeah, I would say SEC teams, probably going to have some Big Ten, uh, some Pac-10 is going to be where you're going to get a lot of. I mean, you got to look at who's ending up, in a bowl game at the end of the year, has a pretty good shot of being in there. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. Oh, for everyone that came in late, I grabbed the octane and purple. Sorry, the color for some reason is kind of dark where I'm sitting. Like it's better back here, but whatever. Um, so, but and I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Um, yeah, I hear you. Hey, D&Q, when's your next video dropping? I'm curious to see day 3 and day 4 on the cruise. Chop chop, you ain't got nothing else to do. Come on. Get in that room, start editing video. Let's go. Come on. ease up on the production and just start throwing that stuff out there. Just push it out. It don't matter. We're all sitting around bored out of our gourd. We'll watch anything at this point, right? I mean, look at this. I mean, my God, people are watching me talk. I mean, for God's sakes, you know if it's bad enough that you're all just sitting around listening to me run my trap. We are some severely bored individuals right about now. I'm just saying. So, but yeah. Um yeah, exactly, Trap. We are waiting. We are waiting. Hey, FYI, are you seeing in the live stream, Trap, the am I capturing the chat window in the actual viewable outside of the chat itself? I'm hoping that it's gonna retain the uh the chat when I post this thing up. So I think the queen's upstairs. I heard her clicking on something earlier. So um such slackers. Cool. Um yeah. No, I'd be curious to see 3 and 4. That was really fun. Um I'm still it's still amazing, and we Christian and I were talking about this, is I mean, we on the cruise, I mean, there was just a little bit of news about Corona. I mean, it was kind of being started to be talked about a little bit, but I mean, I have to say for the most part, it never even really crossed my mind that much on the cruise, but now looking back on it is just like how close we were. I mean, 2 weeks from, cruises being shut down and redirected and all of that. I mean, it's crazy. But, like I say, hopefully I've not heard of anyone that's who's not buying any more watches. I'm trying not to. I'm trying. Um, Yeah, no, no, back at you, man. Appreciate the videos y'all do. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if the whole cockroach in the food thing would have gone quite as genteel had someone done that to me. I probably would have had the police department called. I'd have probably gone postal for about 10 seconds until someone told me it was a joke. Yeah, that would have been that probably would have been everyone probably would have enjoyed it all the way up until, yeah, you hear the line taser, 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 and you see me flopping around on the ground. But we have work to do. The world is watching. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we do. Like I was saying earlier, it's going to be a new world that we're going to enter into in 6 months. We're going to look back at this, and either it's going to be a lot of lessons learned. Yeah. She cut that quick though, man. I mean, it was even the look on your face. I'd have been cursing about, I don't know, 2.5 seconds out the gate. About the moment I saw it, it'd have been, yeah. You'd have had to bleep me out like an episode of Live PD, man. I'd have been going off the rails. But no, that was pretty funny. The pause challenge. I've seen that was pretty funny. Uh, I would have to say that if someone tried to play the pause game with me, that it would not go well because I would just ignore you. Um, nope, not gonna do it. So it's funny, but yeah, John doesn't do that one. So no, No one had a real one. It was a fake one that Q did on D. It was really funny, and it really looked real. Like, oh my God, when you were showing the picture, watching it, I was like, oh my God, that is like beyond real. I mean, yeah, that was crazy. It was that was crazy real. Here's a thought. Who was the person that got the real one and was able to, whatever they did to it, subdue it to then mold the casting of the real one? So, who had to actually go get a real one and then actually make the mold for the fake one? Now, there's a job for you. Mm-hmm. Think about that one. Someone had to make that mold. That's all I'm saying. The one you. Oh, yeah. I don't even think they call that any. I don't even think they call it a roach anymore, man. I think it's. Let's see. If everything that I watch on Live PD, it's now a blunt. It's not a roach anymore. But I will defer to Rico. He seems to be very much in. Wise. No, no, I'm not wise and beyond my years. Just ask Smitten. There is very little wisdom between these ears. I'm just saying. I've just learned when to shut up. Well, no, not really. I haven't learned how to shut up. Obviously, I've been talking for an hour. Um, I don't know how to shut up unless I get the there's a look she gives me, or there's like a nudge or something, and then I know that I've run off at the mouth for so long that um I need to be quiet for a while. So what? They could have molded a mold of their hands. All right, you lost me on that one. I'm not following. See? Told you. I've not learned. I've not learned how to be quiet. That's why I literally have a Coke Zero over here and a thing of water over here, because if I start getting, you know that look, don't you? It's a look that you after you've been with somebody a little while, it's the look that from across the room, if I look up and I see that look, I'm like, okay, I need to be quiet. And then I'll be quiet for a little bit. And then it's like uh it's like being it's like being in a room with like 8 or 10 people, and I stop talking for a while. It's like I start to fidget, like a little kid that needs to go to the bathroom and needs to hold his hand up. Teacher, I got to go. That's what I'm like if I don't talk for about. If I'm in a big group and I haven't said anything in about 5-10 minutes, I start twitching. Um, you know, look, I got Tourette's or something, and molded and molded. Well, yeah, a roach mold. That's something. Oh, okay. I get it. Find info on a watch. What watch? What you got? What am I looking for? Could have carved it. Yeah, which watch? What am I looking up? Which one do you want to see? I need Jeopardy music playing in the background here as we wait for Trap to tell me what I'm looking up here. unless he's telling me that he wants me to do this later. A Thor. Okay. Okay. All right, go do some stuff, girl. You know, make sure you got all your stuff straight. Bye, Celia. Um, okay. Oh, you got a picture of it? Shoot me a picture and I'll look it up. Because what I can do is, if I see the picture, then I can get Hamburg. Oh, I remember that one. Mm, it's a hammer. I want to say it was a bolt. I, I think that hammered bezel was a bolt. I'm pretty sure. Um, I think that was one of the few that they really. Mm, I don't think so, dude. I'm pretty sure it's a bolt. It was one of the few that they did of. It was a Marvel piece that they didn't do a Punisher in because I don't think I've got a hammer. I'm almost 100% sure I do not have a hammered bezel. Um, I can hear Smitten going hopefully to where all of my Punishers are to take a look, but I'm pretty sure the hammered bezel was a bolt of some series. Um, it was a there wasn't a lot of different characters. I think it was Thor, Black Widow, um, Hulk, Cap, and maybe Iron Man, and that was it. Yeah, yeah, and I remember that hammered look. I mean, I remember it because it's a really cool look. But I want to say it's in the Bolt family. I'll have to look that one up. Hey D and Q, have they modified y'all? Are you working from home or do you still go into the office? Um, I can't remember what you said. I'd have to scroll back up. Um, have you not? Oh yeah, the Sea Dragon. Yeah. Have you noticed traffic downtown? Is it a lot different this last week? I mean, I know up here in the up in the burbs up here, um, traffic is a lot lighter. Um, but I was curious if you could. I'm assuming you could probably tell a big difference. Okay, yeah, text it to me and I'll find it. I'll put my thinking cap on um, and take a look at it. I know it's like I can picture it in my head, and I just need to go and find it. And I'm thinking Bolt, but I could be wrong. Um, are you wanting to get it? What am I looking up? Like the model number so you can find it, or what? Let me know. Um, I will say because like I'm sitting in basically this is our my office down here, our office. Yeah, I bet traffic is like, oh my God, like you can't even imagine. Like, it only takes like one, maybe two light cycles to get through traffic lights and stuff. Yeah, it's got to be crazy. She has to go in. Is it like still heavy with people, or is it a lot lighter crowd when she goes into the office? Hopefully, it's not. It's not too crazy. Oh yeah, it is 5 o'clock, isn't it? Um, yeah, I ate late. I'm lazy. Yes, yeah. Tell her be safe. Um, gloves. Of course, they say masks really aren't as advantageous. Mr. Hargraves, what's going on? Invicta Vets in the house. What is happening? I am just sitting here running at the mouth talking about a bunch of stuff. So, welcome, welcome. We're all just kind of passing the time listening to me run my mouth. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. I remember this one. I remember this one, Trap. Okay. Cool, cool. Yeah. Yeah, shoot me let me know what you want me to look up on it. I'll do some research on it. It looks like uh oh my Jesus, really? All the dorms? Oh my God, that's got to be insane. Is it April 29th? Is it been 1 year on the 29th, man? Has it been that long? Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, are they now is that mandatory move out? Or is that a voluntary thing? Like what how are they handling that at Tech? Oh, all of them. So like everybody's got to be out. So this is like get out, go home, do whatever you're gonna do, but you ain't staying here. What about how much of the classes have been converted to online? Um, cool. April 29th. All right. Awesome. Um, yeah, that'll be a good one. And for anybody out there, Invicta Vets is their anniversary is coming up 1 year on Facebook, and there's a storefront also for all kinds of gear and swag. So support them any way you can, um, and thank Mr. Hargraves for all the work he does. You do some awesome work, buddy. Really appreciate what you do. So salute. Um, I know my neighbor, his wife is a high school teacher, and my neighbor on the other side of me, she's elementary. So I think they're starting to put content out for online classes and things like that. I mean, I'm not as much in the know of what everyone's doing. I mean, like I say, our daughter's been out of all of that for quite some time. Yeah, because I mean, I would assume there's got to be extenuating circumstances like because I know there's a pretty good international contention of students there at Tech. I'm sure that's probably going to be some of it. Um, I would assume that they're going to probably be monitoring the student population. Hopefully, most everybody at Tech was smart enough to not do spring break and go down and frolic in the beaches with 10,000 other people like a bunch of lunatics. So hopefully they had enough smarts to pay attention to the news and not do that. So that, I mean, of all the places outside of like, regular, K through 12 kids that could potentially, spread um, the virus, I'd say the next biggest populace would be college campuses. Um, and the ability for them to be carriers is super high on the list of, think before you do something. So hopefully they're being, you know, they're being smart about it. What about like anything about that? Like all of that, like sororities and fraternities and all of that, are they allowing them to continue, or are they shutting them down too? Because I mean, I know, with, especially, people doing everything. I mean, a lot of people, live at those fraternities. So I'm curious if, yeah, you would think, James, you would think, but apparently that's not necessarily always the case. Unfortunately, as seen by those students recently that were just at spring break that were diagnosed with COVID. So unfortunately, you're always going to have some level of I'm bulletproof and nothing's gonna get me. And that may be true that, these students, and I would say for the most part, probably are not going to experience the severe symptoms of this because of their age bracket, unless they have, like I say, underlying medical issues. But what they fail to understand is, they could take out, their parents or grandparents like that, if they're not paying attention. It's like getting everyone to understand that is probably more important. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, those entities are not official from a college perspective as far as who owns the land and the building and all of that. So it's not the same as someone who's paying room and board to live in a school-owned dormitory. So I'd be curious to see how many of those are going to self-impose some restrictions, hopefully. But yeah, I would say probably the frats and sororities are probably not under that governing body in the same vein. I mean, it's a basically like it's a private it's a private situation, so there's no enforcement. I mean, that's the same thing with like bankruptcies and everything. I know federal government has asked Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to be more lenient in these next few months as far as bankruptcy filings and things like that. And they can do that because it's all part of HUD, but you can't go to Bank of America and Wells Fargo and all the rest of them and say, hey, can you give everybody a break? I mean, that's, you know, I don't know. Hopefully, most banks will probably be a little lenient at first, but then, they're an institution, they're a corporation, they're trying to make money, and at a certain point, they've got investments and everything that they have to, you know, keep safe too. So, like I say, Christy, working where she works with in the bankruptcy system, um, it is getting ready, probably May, June timeframe. It's going to start ramping up pretty quick. So, I mean, if you're someone that's in a financial situation that you're almost at that edge right now. I mean, you're like teetering on, am I gonna make it or not? Being where this thing is at now. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It really does not surprise me that they would be out. Yeah. I mean, I say that, and we're talking about, 20 somethings, right, out there. So yesterday I was out washing the cars and everything, and you know, doing my thing, moving the cars in and out, washing them. And afterwards, I could hear a bunch of people talking, and I walked out, and my neighbors literally to the side of me, there was probably four different families all hanging out in their driveway and everything with a big box of wine sitting there. Look, see, we're keeping social distancing. I'm thinking, but you're all touching the same box of wine for shit's sake. Come on, pay attention. But whatever. Is what it is. It's like you can talk to me from across my yard. That's you're close enough. Don't make me have to go, get something bigger to influence you to not get any closer. Like I told Christy, need a broom handle with a you know measure from your arm out 6 feet and put a red mark on it. If you're within this distance when I swing it, um, you're gonna know it. If you get inside this line, I'm gonna knock you out. So keep your 6 feet away from me. And yeah, I mean, she went to Publix yesterday, and I mean, there were some people that were, being courteous about, trying to give everyone space. And then there was some people, like running around like chicken with a head cut off, don't care who they're running into. And of course, you're in Publix, so you've got 10 or 12 register lines, you know? So what's the best thing to do if you want to limit, your exposure is you open the two registers right next to each other. That's how you do it. I'm like, open register 1 and like register 6. I mean, that's the whole point, is to keep people away from each other. Don't open registers right beside each other. I mean, it's little things that you would think. Captain Ahab. Why did you have to bring up Captain Ahab? That skit, and I'm okay. All right, hold on. All right, Bulldog Network, Shopping Network, and their skits. I need a tally of everyone that watches those, and of course, this they tout themselves as a men's shopping channel, and they're more cool and hip and laid back and everything, and they joke around and all of that. Um, if you were at a party or a barbecue, hanging out at your buddy's house watching a game, and someone did one of those skits for longer than, I don't know, 4 seconds, you would probably laugh in the first 2.5 seconds. After about 4 seconds, you'd be like, all right, dude, seriously, you can stop now. At about 10 seconds, you're just going to start ridiculing them to the point of exhaustion. And then it's just like, dude, it's just not funny anymore. I mean, I don't know. That's all right. I'm off. You haven't seen it? Oh my God, James. Oh, okay. Go out to Bulldog Shopping Network on YouTube and look at some of the skits. Um, you're wrong. You're just wrong for that. You know that, don't you? That's just wrong. Trap is just starting to see. Trap's trying to see if he can make me make a face or say something right now. Yeah, they're about as good as, you know. Okay. Like I say, I mean, I get the so and a lot of us will recognize this. Remember when Evine and Chop HQ they would do the Invicta Online, like the show. They would go to the little, we always called it the basement with the rug, and it'd be like Ryan and Kendi or Fatima or Todd was there and Jay Z, and it was a lot more laid back, and they were joking around and everything, but they never did a skit, but it was funny. Oh my God, yes, yes. Like I get the idea that every so often, and I was even watching the other day how many times other hosts will announce their name and the name of the person they're with. Um, I watched for about 4 hours. I would say the average is somewhere around every 30 to 45 minutes. They may, you know, say, hey, this is John and this is Trap and blah 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 and on. That man wears that thing out like if it's more than 15 minutes, it's like he's twitching to say his name again. Like, just calm down. We all know who you are. You don't need to keep saying your name every single time we turn around. Like every fourth watch. Hi, this is Blair Christie, and I'm with Ryan Johnson. Dude, seriously? Come on now. Oh my God, too funny. But I mean, other than that, I mean, some of the goofy things I do, it's kind of funny, but the skits, it's like you're not Carol Burnett. You're not funny. Quit trying to be funny. All right, Vic, I'm about someone's about ready to get band hammered. Just saying. About ready to drop the band hammer on somebody. Hmm. So, um, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh no, the picture frames, the talking picture frames. Yeah. And the cow and I can't even think of them all. But the epitome is the uh the bar skit has got to be up there in the oh my God, I can't believe they actually put that out and saved it for posterity so that people can rewatch it. That's the scary part. You can actually go watch that thing. Like I would have hidden that footage and buried it under the studio after I did that one. So, yeah, insane, insane. But you're killing me, man. You're killing me. Start calling you Peter Pan and Captain Hook. Um, but yeah, I uh, I don't know. I think we're gonna find out how close we are with our. Yes, it should be jailed. Yes, it should be jailed. It should be barred. It should have, I don't know, like the remember the old explicit lyrics warning labels on it. It should have like warning labels on it. Um, this may induce seizures and uncontrolled vomiting. Um, that thing is just so bad. But I mean, like I say, I don't have anything necessarily against the people doing it. I mean, I think they're all, they're all fine. I mean, I don't have anything personally against it. I mean, I know that I talk about, Daniel, Diamond Dan. Um, but I mean, I met him on the cruise, talked to him quite a few times. I mean, he's a very pleasant person to talk to. Uh, he just needs to learn, and this is funny coming from me. He needs to learn when to not talk. Um, which, hey, it is what it is. Um, but I think if he could get into a rhythm, like, I mean, when you see like Kendi and Fatima and Heather and those that are interacting with Ryan and Justin and all that, there's like just a natural flow of one person's idea comes in, they start talking about something, and you kind of get an idea of where they're at, and okay, he's done explaining the watch. Okay, now I'm going to take over, and then going to mention something and then hand it back, and it's just a natural volley to it, and it's enjoyable to watch. I mean, you get perspectives from both sides, and he just hasn't quite gotten that whole give and take of the conversation quite down pat just yet. But like I say, I don't have anything personally against him. I mean, I heard on Facebook there was some people that just went off the deep end and were going just almost to what I understand was like disgusting levels of bashing him and everything, which I have to say, unfortunately, um, I don't go on Facebook much at all. Um, I'll look through and I'll comment on someone's watch or something. Yes, yes, he was. He was so easily distracted, and by God, if Mina was within 50 yards, he was going to have a picture with her. I'm just saying. The man could find a way to get on camera with her. I don't care where she was at. He could beeline and be in the shot with Mina within like 15 seconds. He is. I mean, like I said, I talked to him too. I mean, he's a very personable guy. But wow, come on, dude, just just pull back on the throttle a little bit. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. He gets a bit intense, and yeah, yeah, no joke, dude. And I mean, I got to talk to him. I mean, she's very nice too. And Luke, uh, what's his name? What's Luke's last name? Don't remember. Luke something. Talked to him quite a few times. I mean, he's a personal guy. I think the one thing that Luke needs to calm down is when he's showing a watch. Let's see. He's like this. He's like death gripped so hard. It's like, dude, the veins on your arm are popping out. Just relax it a little bit. Oh, sorry. Go that way. Yeah, you gotta go the other way. We can't see. Get closer. Get closer to the camera. But you gotta go down. Go that way. There you go. Here, do this right there. There you go. Yeah. He probably played tennis or chess. But yeah, like I said, I mean, he's a nice enough guy. I mean, you get him away from, talking to everybody. But what's funny is when you talk to him, he goes and goes like, okay. The man definitely has the ability to talk. So, but like I say, that's the pot calling the kettle black. So I won't talk about people that talk a lot because you know my shy, quiet demeanor keeps me from getting myself in trouble because I tend not to do too much in conversation. I prefer wallflower mode. So, do you like that? I didn't even crack a smile, and I made it all the way through that. I mean, that was pretty good, I thought. But Connect Four, oh my God, uh, Jesus, yeah, that goes back. Uno, I don't think he could handle Uno, dude. I mean, especially if you reverse on him. I mean, he's gonna lose it, man. Or pick up four. I mean, I think or skip. I think he'd be all over the place. I mean, if you start playing reverse and skip on him, I think his head would pop off. I think you need to. Think you need to keep it to like Go Fish, um, Solitaire. Probably be a really good one. You know, I'd go with that. Maybe Yahtzee. You know, might be able to handle Yahtzee okay. But yeah. What time is it? Time check. 5:36. Okay. Um, Anything else y'all want to talk about? I know I've just been sitting here running. I'm starting to. Dude, Did you see Ryan was on last night? Was it last night? Behind him, like at the, it was up behind his shoulder. The Sabaquanoma 3 wall clock was back there in the studio. That thing looks so amazing. It looked like a gunmetal. I'm like, oh my God, that one was crazy. A mock Shop HQ experience. How so? Mock up from what perspective, bro? I'm curious because that does sound like fun. Hey, did you ever find out from anybody how? Oh, D and Q, you guys have been around. Um, do you know how to split share a live stream with another YouTuber? I'm using Streamlabs OBS on my PC, and everything that I found said that it wasn't native to the application. I don't know if maybe once you get to a certain level, like 1,000, that you can actually use YouTube native, that you can do it, but I couldn't find anything in OBS. I tried using a conferencing bridge unit that we have and then sharing that as the feed. Um, but it wouldn't let me do it. It kept bombing out on me. A Pro Diver and a Venom too. Yeah, yeah, those are going to be crazy. I mean, they know how to hit us. They definitely know how to hit us with that one. So it's going to be who's gonna have more Invicta wall clocks in their house and where to put them all now. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, we need to do. You've not gone live yet, really? I could have sworn. No, dude, y'all need to go live then. You definitely need to go live. That would be super funny. That would be awesome. Hey, do you know D and Q had not gone live yet? Yeah, that would be fun. I know. That's yeah. Smitten says you definitely need to do it. So you need to get on that. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like do a show and actually promote. Um, yeah, yeah. That would be really cool. I wonder if you could add like a website as another source. I have this chat that comes up. So my chat, to get my chat in the window itself, I had to log into it and then add it as a source with the URL. I'm wondering if you actually did another um, window, if you could save it. Let me try something. Y'all be patient with me here for a second. I want to see if I can add something here. Um, Descriptions. Let's see. Out of the way. Descriptions. Yeah, so here's, okay, so then add a source, browser, add, okay, copy, width, 200, okay, so I think I did it wrong. So I'm actually brought in, that's one of Trap's videos. So yeah, we might be able to do that, is add that information as a, all right, hold on, I gotta take that out because it's in my ear. Transition. Um, yeah, we'll have to try and do that. Oh yeah, yeah, we production is getting in the way of production. Come on now. Say it ain't so, man. But yeah, we'll definitely have to play with that. I mean, I'd really love to be able to do a multi-stream experience. That would be that would be a lot of fun. Is to actually have a live stream with 4 or 5 of us in there, all talking about different ideas and everything. Because I mean, you know, even even as much as I talk, I start to run out of things to talk about. But yeah, to actually probably sit down and put together a framework of what to talk about, how to bring links, and pages into the conversation. That would be so much fun. Um, and like I say, I mean, I think that with all of this distancing and everything that's going on, I think the age of um, electronic interaction and all of that is really going to take off. And, you know, the ones that embrace it the earliest and the fastest are probably going to do best with it. It's all right. We'll we'll have a conversation. It's all good, man. But I mean, I think now of all the times with everything going on, being able to capitalize and capture basically a captive audience is huge right now, and I think it can really, catapult a lot of content that, the people that weren't as much into either live or collaborations, with with social media and everything. I think it's going to be a very different world that's going to open up a lot more opportunities. I mean, the dot com age of the you know the early 2000s, saw a dip, saw a rise in all of this, and then the the interaction of it kind of fell away. And I mean, I think with Instagram and obviously YouTube and I'm not a TikTok person, but I mean all these different platforms that allow people to interact with each other um, as if you were relatively in the same space. I think being comfortable, sitting there talking to a camera um, and feeling that you're connected with who you're talking to is something that's, I think, probably 20 years ago or more was just not normal. It didn't feel normal. But I think now, I mean, so much of the way that we see things and interact with everyone is watching someone talking to us, on a camera or just being on camera. It opens up so many possibilities that you can reach people that you otherwise wouldn't. I mean, this whole thing, I mean, it still goes back to, to this. I mean, all the different people that are in our lives now just because of a watch company that they never expected, anticipated, or planned for the grassroots style growth of everything and all of us getting together over it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, there's thousands, but then there's tens and hundreds of thousands of people that are looking for. I think there's probably more people that are going to YouTube now that probably in the past never did, because they involve themselves with activities outside of the house and thought that that was for. And I'm speaking more from people my age and everything. It was, if you wanted to interact with somebody, you went somewhere. I mean, if you wanted to meet somebody, you went to a bar or restaurant, whatever it was. It was always, everything was based around a face-to-face interaction. Well, now that's not really feasible or possible. So I think a lot of people are starting to embrace the idea that you become connected to someone over this platform, that you then have the ability to bond with people in a way that is so much different, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just different but yet it can be just as fulfilling. I mean, like I say, I've talked with Trap and I mean, obviously, we've met each other in person and everything, but like Vic and Janet, I mean, for oh my gosh, at least over a year now or more. No, it's got to be more than a year. Um, I mean, we've interfaced on text and chat and Instagram video and all of that, and I feel like we have such a connection with with Vic and Janet that's more impactful in our lives than a lot of times people that you interact with on a daily basis, people at work or whatever. So I mean, this is just it's a whole new animal of how we interact with each other. And I think as this becomes more normal for more people, I mean, the people that do it now, or let's say 6 months ago, the people that were doing it 6 months ago were always somewhat, interested in doing it. Um, but there was, I'd say there was probably still a large, you know, section of society that just never really gravitated towards YouTube and Instagram and all of the interaction that's out there. But I think this whole, you know, pandemic is changing everyone's perception on, what kind of a relationship, that you can have with other people that you're not in the same physical room. So I'd say this is definitely on the avenue of looking at what's possible and where to go from there. So um, I will say it's almost 2 hours, and I know it's almost 6 o'clock, and there's people that probably want to eat dinner. Uh, I'm being told that I can hear the oven going, so I think dinner is close by. Um, so with that, I will sign out and yeah, exactly. It is. Um, so with that, I will sign out. Oh, yep. Oh, hold on a second.
Hi.
You can't hear them, but they can hear you.
Bye.